For the past few months, I've been working on lowering my resting heart rate. But for some reason, in the past few weeks, my resting heart rate has gradually been going up. So, let's break this down. So hey y'all, Aman here, and you're watching Heart Limits. So, as I mentioned earlier, it's quite disturbing why even though I didn't change my lifestyle, my diet, and even my routines, my resting heart rate has been going up instead of down. So I tried my best to dig in deeper, and what I found out was it apparently has a lot to do with the temperature. And so to say, the weather as well. For the past few weeks, the weather in Bordeaux has been getting colder and colder, and most definitely, be it in almost every part, not really technically every part since there are tropical countries after all. Well, in a lot of parts in the globe, the weather has been gradually dropping. And what I found out was apparently our hearts are also in charge of our heating and cooling mechanisms. So given that the weather, or rather the temperature, is slowly getting colder, our hearts need to work harder so that our body temperature stays up. So to that end, our resting heart rate, or our heart rate basically in general, goes up, and so does our blood pressure. The cold also has some changes to your blood, and the problem with this is that it increases your chances for actually having some blood clots. And as I mentioned in the previous videos, whenever you have blood clots, it increases your chances for heart attacks, so it actually puts your life at risk. The problem with the cold is that the people who are most vulnerable are actually the people who are quite elderly. So it is very, very important, especially for those who are of the elderly, to make sure that they are warm, or they do certain things to ensure that they are kept warm. There are many ways to keep yourself warm, and it's not only just staying indoors and keeping the temperature up, somewhere around 18 degrees Celsius. It also helps when you have some hot and cold meals, and you make sure that every once in a while, you don't just sit around the whole day. Of course, it's nice to binge watch once in a while, but it's important that you also move around and be a little active. After all, the more active you are, the more heat there is in your body. But be aware that the problem is, even though your body might be heating up, for some reason, the heat just goes out from your head. So it's actually quite important to wear either a bonnet or a hat or something. That way the heat stays in your head. Also, it's important to know that apparently wearing a lot of thin layers of clothing works better than actually just wearing one thick layer of clothing. And when you go to bed, it's important, of course, to have a thick blanket. If possible, you can have an electric blanket. And even if you are kind of in a tight budget, a hot water bottle actually also works like wonders. So, there you have a couple of ways on how to stay warm, especially now that winter is coming. It's important to be aware that being cold has a big effect on our hearts. So, once again, Aman here, and you're watching Heart Limits. I hope you like this video. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just remember, when it's cold, your heart works more. So try your best to find a way to keep yourself warm. Alright? So, see ya.